Good evening and welcome to the Jackson and Austin National Championship Recap Special, the only place where you will get entertainment and laughter. But never forget, we always are spitting the truth. Don't be hurt by our facts, just be thankful that we're giving you the truth. But this is the National Championship Recap, and here today to join me to do this wonderful game is my co-host, the man who spits the truth and who also is an Alabama fan and will always call it straight down the middle. You got Jackson Johnson and his Spider-Man beanie tonight. Jackson, how's it going? How have you enjoyed Championship Monday?
Oh, it was pretty good, but it's actually a Deadpool beanie. He's the mark with a mouth. But I'm doing pretty good. I enjoyed the national championship and this future Big Ten conference game. It's gonna be pretty awesome to see the revenge game next year, which I'm already counting
Jackson,
down
anything
to.
Well, Jackson, it can't be no worse than TCU Georgia last year. I mean that was a pretty low standard. Washington just needed to put up 10 points and it would have been a better game. But
Yeah.
but all joking aside though, we crowned a new champion in 2023, Jackson, and it was the Michigan Wolverines taking it all home. Michigan defeats Washington 34-13, completing the undefeated season and becoming one of only few teams that have ever done that in history. And Jackson, it's quite a great accomplishment, but let's not short Washington any credit. They were an incredible foe. Let's give Washington their flowers before we talk about Michigan, because I'm sure there's going to be plenty of Michigan talk. Jackson, just talk about some of your memories from this season for Washington and just what you'll take away from this Washington team.
Well, I loved watching what Michael Penix brought this season. And let's be honest, I think he should have been the Heisman Trophy winner instead of Daniels. And even though they lost the national championship last night, I still feel the same way. Michael Penix should have been the Heisman Trophy winner, because he showed us what he can do in a big game, like in games against Oregon, not one, but twice against Oregon. And then what we saw against Utah and USC and against Arizona, he always found a way to win. And I'm going to tell you right now, whoever gets him in the NFL draft is going to be extremely happy. And, his partner in crime, Roma Dunze, was pretty fantastic. Polk did pretty awesome, and McMillan was pretty awesome as well. But, Ryan Grubb, the OC, I love what he's done at Washington. Done such a great job that Alabama was looking for him to be their next OC. Guess what? He turned it down because he wanted to come back for this season. And Kalen DeBoer, we've seen what he's done at Washington and Fresno State, and what he's done at other places. This guy's a winner. I'm going to tell you right now, Washington's got a beautiful future ahead of them. So don't get discouraged by last night, Husky Nation. You got a lot to look forward to in the future.
Yeah, Washington most certainly does, Jackson. I can't wait to see what they do in Big Ten play. But I will say, though, Jackson, Washington had everything to be proud of. They won the Sugar Bowl. They won the final Pac-12 championship, something no other Pac-12 team could say they ever did. Arguably had the greatest offense in college football this year. Washington has everything to be proud of. They shouldn't hang their head in shame. They should look back at this year and say, that was a great year. I mean, Jackson, like you said, Michael Penix, he's a future first-round pick in my opinion. I think Roma Dunze, Jalen McMillan, those guys are going to be future number one wide receivers in the NFL, or at least wide receiver two. But Washington, they deserve a lot of credit. They earned a lot of credit. And Jackson, I think if you didn't know what Washington football was, you learned about them this year. I think they
Yeah.
earned a lot of people's respect, especially if you didn't believe in Kalen DeBoer, you didn't think Michael Penix could hold up. Well, I think last night he proved he's every bit as good as he says he is, and then some. But for Washington, 14-1, they won the Sugar Bowl. Great season, national championship runner up. Nothing to be ashamed of. But Washington, well, as they always say, Jackson, the history book is not written by the losers, it's written by the victors. And Michigan was indeed the victor last night. And I will give Michigan props. I will say it once, I will say it again. I apologize to all the Michigan fans out there I may have offended with my takes on you throughout the year. You are as every bit as good as you say you are, and you've proven it time and time again. You proved it last night. I don't know about Jackson. I can't speak for him or how he felt about you, but I thought Michigan was a one-hit wonder, and they were a team that when they ran up against a better team like in Alabama or when they ran up to Ohio State, that would be the end of their story. But they proved me wrong, and that's okay because we get some wrong sometimes. But congratulations, Michigan, on an incredible season and a national championship. But Jackson, what was your overall thoughts on Michigan this year? And just talk about their culmination of the national championship before we get into the game.
When I look back at Michigan and what I thought about them in the preseason, I felt like they were going to win it all. Because like when I look back at some of my preseason predictions, I was like, this team has the makings of a national championship. I mean, they can get it done. I mean, they're gonna hear it that they can't get it done in the big games, but guess what? They'll prove everybody wrong. They will do what they did in 2021 against Ohio State in 2023. That's what's gonna happen. I mean, there was a reason why Blake Corum returned for the 2023 season. He could have gone pro for the 2023 draft, but he's like, nah, I'm going to remember the disappointment we got in the 2021 Orange Bowl and the 2022 Fiesta Bowl. And we're going to take what we learned from our losses and we're going to beat everyone's rear end in the 2023 season. I mean, there's a reason why they had that beat Georgia banner. Like how they had a beat Ohio State banner since 2021? Well, they had like a beat Georgia banner, but they used the beat Georgia banner on everybody else since Georgia wasn't there this year. So that's worked out plenty for them.
And Jackson, it just goes to show when you have heart, determination, and hard work, it gets you far in life. And JJ McCarthy, he was a big topic of conversation. Should he come back for his senior year or should he go pro? For as much as, we picked on him, you know,
My good buddy Austin is face freeze at the moment, but he is back. The bad weather has
yes,
gotten to us all.
yeah, yes. But, JJ McCarthy, he was one of those quarterbacks that, people, brag on a lot. They say, oh, he's nothing more than a game manager. Last night, Jackson, I think he proved to a lot of people he's more than just a game manager. But now, Jackson, I would like to hear your take on JJ McCarthy. What did you think of him coming into this season? And how has your opinion changed, or is it still the same? Because for me, it's changed a whole lot. So I thought JJ was a quarterback that was going to rely on his run game and just try not to mess this up. But he proved to me last night he's more than that. What about you?
Well, I thought he was pretty good. I think people underrated him a little too much. They didn't give him the respect they deserved. I mean, did anybody not learn anything from the success he was having in 2022? I mean, good grief. They were going to be surprised in 2023 if they thought he was nothing but a game manager. It's like, good grief.
Yeah, 100% agree, Jackson. I mean, that's one of the things, I come out of this saying, well, we all knew what Michael Penix was. Arguably a future first round pick. I think we learned J.J. McCarthy's more than just a game manager. Now, you could say when you have an incredible defense, it's hard. It's hard for anybody to mess that up, which we're going to get to that here in a few seconds. But that was just my overall thoughts on J.J. McCarthy, because I had given him a lot of flack. I'll be honest with you, I did. Not going to lie to y'all. I did. I gave him a lot of flack. But I think he showed last night he was more than what I thought he was. Now, on to the game itself. I will start with this, Jackson. Where was Washington's run defense in those first two drives? What the heck, man? I mean, where was this team that was shutting down Oregon's run game? Where was this? What? I get Michigan makes you look silly, but Washington did not give up that many big runs all year long. What happened, Jackson?
I just didn't think they had enough answers for Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. And we look back at the stats. Donovan Edwards had 6 carries, 104 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. And the 2 touchdowns were in the first quarter. Good grief. They got beat up by Donovan Edwards, and they got beat up by Blake Corum. Nobody was going to have an answer for one of the top running back duos in all college football.
Yeah, like Jackson, it just seemed like, like Donovan Edwards, who hadn't done much to speak of, he had those 2 big carries against Washington, and he scored on both of them. It was just like Jackson. I knew it was doomed from there. As soon as Michigan scored on those 2 runs, I was like, yeah, that Washington dug themselves too big of a hole. Yeah, they can't be playing behind for Michigan because that's their football game. Michigan wants to get up on you by at least 14, 17 plus points, and then they beat you up ground and pound, and then McCarthy could just play action and do as he pleases to you. Pause, and you're pretty much done. And Jackson, that's essentially what happened, was it not? Yeah. McCarthy basically, they said, okay, you're up 14, McCarthy. Don't mess this up, okay? The defense is going to do their job. Just don't throw any stupid passes. And Michigan executed perfectly.
Well, you look back at some of the plays in the national championship. There were plenty of people that were saying that, oh, wait a minute, there was missed holding calls, especially when it was the play that we saw where Michigan made a touchdown to make it 27-13. They say there was a missed holding call. And, right on that play and a few other ones that we missed. There's a lot of people not too thrilled. And I remember tonight on the Michigan channel at The Voice College Football, there are a lot of them saying, when you're losing by 3 touchdowns, you can't claim the refs were screwing you over. In a way, and they're right.
But see, here's the thing, though, Jackson, and I know I may sound like a Michigan Wolverine party pooper, but here's the thing, though, Jackson. There was holding calls when Washington was in striking distance, when it was 20 to 13. Rome Odunze got held, McMillan got held, and then Washington got held on that, got called for a holding on a tic-tac little grab, while Michigan's literally body slamming one of the Washington defenders to the ground. I mean, that like, let's be honest. I mean, it's kind of hard to keep up with something when the officials are blatantly not calling anything in Washington's favor. And I know I don't want to sound like that guy, but it's true, though. There's actually video and picture evidence of this. And I know
Yeah.
Michigan fans are going to come for me in the comments and say, I'm a sore loser, cry about it. I'm happy you won, Michigan. Congratulations. It's great for you. But let's be honest. As Mark Rogers said last night on his live postgame show, Jackson, you were there for that. Any rational fan can look at some of those pictures and plays and be like, hey, we might have got away with that hold right there. Good thing the officials didn't see that. Like,
Yeah.
Michigan, I know you're enjoying your moment and you think everyone's out to get you, but let's be rational about this and let's look at it fairly.
Oh yeah. I mean, there was that, and unfortunately, Dylan Johnson being hurt, and some of the big hits that Michael Penix took. That was what most definitely got to him. And remember, last week I was like, "You get to Michael Penix, Washington will be in big trouble," and they were.
Yeah,
That
Jackson.
Michigan defense.
Yeah, Jackson. He threw those 2 picks too. Now the second one, Jackson, I don't blame him as much. He was just trying to make a play, and he was just like, hopefully someone's in the area. So that one, I don't blame on him as much. But that first one, Jackson, you can make an argument if that wasn't tipped, it would just go incomplete. But the fact that it was tipped at the line and Will Johnston was able to get it you could say those 2 picks were not his fault. Would you agree on that, Jackson?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. But that
But I will say,
was a pretty big play, that second interception.
well, Jackson, that second interception, he was just throwing it to try to get it out because Michigan's defensive line, well, they made Washington's offensive line look not so good. Like Washington's O line was pretty good. Penix, he had all the time in the world against Texas. Against Michigan, they were like, Penix, we're not going to give you all this time because you're going to light us up if we do. And Jackson, do you think, and now this is a big debate of this, if Roma Dunze catches that wide open pass, does that change the complexion of this game at all? Or do you still think Michigan wins comfortably?
Oh, Michigan still wins, but it just makes the game a little bit closer.
Well, because Jackson, Michael Penix normally does not miss those. If you've watched Washington play, he doesn't miss those. Like he was wide open and he just missed him. Now I don't know and there was nobody in his face when he threw that. I do not believe, right? If I that he just overthrew him.
Yeah. That was he usually doesn't do that, but he did. But that first play of the second half, I was like, "Oh man, that's gonna hurt Washington quite a bit."
100%. And I will say this though, Jackson. You know, before we wrap this up, we got to talk about the big elephant in the room. Jim Harbaugh came to Michigan and he wanted a natty. Well, he's got a natty now. Does Jim Harbaugh maybe entertain a job in LA, in Vegas, maybe with your Titans? What do you maybe go to the Commanders? What do you think, Jackson? Do you think he stays or do you think he goes and chases that Super Bowl now?
Well, we're looking at where he's getting a big contract extension. We don't know if he will yet, but it's likely that he will. But we're also looking at whether he's going to be coaching the Raiders or the Chargers. Me personally, I would not want to go to the Chargers as long as that Spanos family is running that team. You're never going to get anywhere with them, unfortunately. But I do hope that whatever happens, I wish Harbaugh nothing but awesomeness. I hope he gets that Super Bowl if he does become an NFL head coach again. Because, I mean, if this was his last game as Michigan head coach, then what a way to end your coaching career at Michigan right there. I mean, this was the day that Michigan fans were praying for. They were planning for days like this when they hired him on December 30th, 2014. They were like, we're going to win a natty with this guy. We're going to win against Ohio State now.
Well, Jackson, he's brought Michigan back to relevancy. And, a lot of people seem to forget Michigan was not a good football team before he got there. Let's be for real. They were not a good football team. Kind of like when Kalen DeBoer took over.
Yeah.
Kalen DeBoer took over a 4-8 team. And the fact that they're already 2 years in and they're at this point, congratulations to Kalen DeBoer. It took Harbaugh a lot longer to get to where he got to. Jackson, I know Michigan fans don't want to hear this, but they couldn't even beat Michigan State for the longest time. And people were ready to pitch him out on the street over that. Like they were like, can we at least just beat Michigan State first? And it was just like, and as you always say, good buddy, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Now, I will say, though, they did have some bad string of luck versus Michigan State. We all remember the fumbled snap on the punt. That's just a string of bad luck. That's not on Harbaugh. He can't help that. But some of those other losses he took against Michigan State, some of that belongs to Harbaugh. And then he couldn't. Then after he did that, it's like, now we need you to beat Ohio State too. And then he couldn't get that done. And then, voila, 2020 strikes. And then 2021, what happens? They beat them, go to the Big Ten championship, and then you know the rest of the story. So it just seems like everything he set out to do, he's accomplished now. His checklist is complete. Maybe it's time for him to go pursue that Super Bowl and become one of only 2 coaches in history to win a Super Bowl and a national championship. And Jackson, would you like to know the other coach that has done that?
Jimmy Johnson.
He's currently and Mr. Pete Carroll of the Seattle Seahawks, one of only 2 coaches to ever do it. And Jim Harbaugh could be number 3 if he decides, I brought Michigan back to relevancy. Sherrone Moore, Jesse Minter, take it over from here, guys. For me. I'm going to go chase this dream now.
Well, and I will say, though, this is the first national championship since 1997, but this is the first solo national championship for Michigan since 1948 with Benny Osterbein. And I got to say, Michigan Nation, they are playing Celebration. They're playing Burning Love by Elvis Presley. They're playing the Peanuts music. They're playing all kinds of happy music. I know they're playing the Michigan fight song, that's for sure. And I say, you've earned it, my friends. You celebrate as long as you want to. You ended the drought, Holmes.
Yeah, they did, Jackson, and they earned every bit of it. And it just leaves one begging question before we go tonight, Jackson.
What's that?
Can Michigan do it again? Do they have the drive to do it again? Do they want to get another one? Because Jackson, the old saying is, it's the hardest to win the first one, but it's especially hard to go back to back.
Well, nobody's like Georgia with Kirby, and it's not like Nick Saban, Alabama, and Pete Carroll and USC. But it could be done. We don't know, but we'll definitely know more in the preseason, especially when the Lindy's magazine comes out in the summer and that Phil Steele magazine comes out.
100%, Jackson. We're going to know a lot. We're going to know what Michigan's made of, especially if Harbaugh leaves. We're going to know a lot. We'll find out more in the coming months.
And we know that spring practice, I heard that spring practice is moved from February to March, which, I mean, they say that means Harbaugh is staying at Michigan, but we don't know yet. We don't know if 2024, if he's staying and then getting that contract extension in Arbor. And we certainly don't know if he's going to be a Raider or a Charger or a Titan or a Commander or a Falcon. But me personally, if you got to go to the NFL, go to the Raiders or Titans, man.
Yeah, precisely.
Get that money. Don't be paying in state taxes at the Chargers, man.
Oh goodness, Jackson! I'm sure Jim Harbaugh right about now he's not thinking about any of this. He's enjoying his championship right now. I'm sure he's going to have a long discussion in the coming days, and we'll know a lot more. But that was our national championship recap, guys. Hope you guys enjoy. Please make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bells so you never miss another great video from me or Jackson. But before we get out of here tonight, Jackson, what is going on your end of the woods? Let the people in on it, home dog. Let them know.
Well, I will say Thursday afternoon, I will be pre-recording episode 25 of the Jacksonian with Locked On Titans host Tyler Rowland as we go over our reaction to the Mike Vrabel firing. Who are the coaching candidates for the Tennessee Titans? What's the future of Derrick Henry? Is he staying? Is he not staying? That we don't know. But also, we go over our take on the general manager, Ran Carthon. Now, I know that Tyler Rowland has been a pretty big fan of Ran Carthon, especially since he came from 49er Nation. So, I mean, that will be a topic we definitely dive deep into. And we'll be going over what are the draft needs for 2024 and what are the free agency needs, plus our takeaways from the Week 18 matchup against the Jaguars. And it will be released on X/Twitter at Jackson09960335 and right here on YouTube at JacksonJohnson979. But if you also want to find some of my latest updates on some of my latest videos and some of the Jacksonian episodes, you can also find them right here on Instagram and Threads at JacksonJohnson543908. Austin, what have you got going on at your own at the Ponderosa, so to speak?
Oh, there's a big smorgasbord. I got your chicken, I got your meatloaf, I got your steak, I got your mashed potatoes, I got your macaroni. Don't you worry. And if you're vegan, don't worry. We got those options too. But all seriousness though, no, you can find me at Sports Talk with Austin 2002 here on YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter at AEW 1980-2639 for my takes on professional wrestling, Dallas Cowboys, the Denver Nuggets, the OKC Thunder. I even talk a little bit of Louisville in there for you college folks out there that just want to talk college sports. I'm all for it, even though Louisville basketball is kind of in a rut right now. It's hard to watch, but I still love them anyway. But next Tuesday night, I will be going live with Jeffrey from Only Talk Sports as we will do our college football tier list season in review as we go over what we got wrong, what we got right, and what could we have done better, and what did we miss out on. Next Tuesday night, me and Jeffrey will be going live, and hopefully all goes well, and hopefully everybody can make it there, and hopefully it's a good night. This will be released the next day. I don't know what Jackson's schedule is with this. I'll release this the next day. And me and Jackson will be doing Bowl Mania as well. We did not forget about it. And no, LSU is not back yet. Stop. Anywho, we'll talk about all of the major bowl games, who made the biggest statements, who disappointed us the most, and we'll give some love to some people and talk about the Boston College win over SMU, Notre Dame trouncing Oregon State, Iowa getting skunked by Tennessee, And yes, you will hear Jackson go on about the 1939 Texas A&M and Jackie Sherrill again. Don't worry, that'll be there too. But we'll even talk about A&M, Oklahoma State, and we will talk about, yes, we'll talk about USC beating Louisville because we have to. But that'll be a
They
fun
screwed me out of the
thing.
bowl mania, man. They screwed me in that bowl mania.
Yeah, they apparently, Jackson, they screwed America too, because almost 60% of America picked us to win that game. So 60% of America is not too happy with us right now. But that's all on deck for tomorrow and for Tuesday. Hopefully everything stays intact, everything gets going. But this is where you can find it. If you find it, if you want to come join us, great. If you don't, that's okay too. But this has been Austin Williams of Sports Talk with Austin. That's been Jackson Johnson of the Jacksonian. This was our recap of the national championship game. But in the meantime, in between time, we're out this thing. Go Cards, everybody.
Roll Tide. Stay safe, stay warm, everyone.